because by and large, I have certain sounds that I like to use a lot for soloing, and it's pretty typical old school lead sounds that you've heard a million times, which is like a saw lead, maybe with a little bit of resonance. It's more like a horn sound with a lot of resonance. That's more like that biting kind of sound that I do, where you can get the filter to growl a little bit. I do like a square lead that sounds like things you've heard on records with all the mini moog stuff. I do like an octave lead that can sound a little bit like some of the ARP leads, like you hear on like a weather report thing or something like that. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 sounds I use all the time, and even on the different synth plugins, it's like the ones that are like virtual analog that have the conventional waveforms. I have a lot of the same type of sounds program. You know what I mean? I have the same patches. Quadra has the same lead sounds that I would use on the Uno synth. That has the same lead sounds, sort of, that I use on PS20. Although I do have some different timbres on PS20 that I like. That's the MS-20 emulation that Cherry Audio did. For the Miniverse, which is the Cherry Audio Mini Moog one, I actually use the same couple sounds all the time. I don't even have that many patches on that, because I usually go to that and I just have like a certain sound that I'm going for, and it is kind of similar to what I was doing with the saw lead on the Uno synth. It's just a little different quality. Maybe it's a little smoother, I think, the way that particular filter is, and that's one of the nice things too, is these instruments have different filters, and that's really the main difference from instrument to instrument for me. The Uno synth, I think, is a 2-pole low pass filter, and then something like the Miniverse is a 4-pole low pass. So you get just a different tone quality because of that. There's some things where you can switch between it, and that's always nice too. I have some things in my rack where you can do that, where you can switch the filter type between 2-pass, or 2-pole, 4-pole. Like that F16 filter works nice for that. But as much as I love that F16 filter to run any synth through it, does it sound as good as the Uno synth filter? No, it doesn't. It just doesn't have the mojo. There's something about the filter in the Uno synth that it really can have a good cutting quality and really growl when you bump up the resonance without feeding back too much. It's got a really musical, usable filter. So I've talked way more than I was going to at the end of this. But maybe all this background will be useful for somebody who's messing around with one of these. So the thing about Uno synth, and we could be talking about anything. I wish I would have said this at the beginning of the video. I really don't care a lot for, how do I want to say this? Personally, I'm not going to do reviews of an instrument. I don't like doing reviews myself. I would rather just talk about, well, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, here's how I use it, this is what's cool. You can do this, you can do that, it layers with this, it layers with that. That's the approach that I would rather take. So, I'm never going to do like a review of Uno synth. But would I do a comparison video where I go, okay, well, here's Uno synth, and then here's, Cherry Audio's free Surrealistic MG1 Moog app. Yeah, that would be a fun video because you can kind of do a head-to-head. But I'm not really going to like say, oh, well, this one gets a 9 and that one gets a 10, because they're just different sounds. And I mean, I'm going to want to use both of them. I mean, there's all these this versus that videos that people do, and I think those are fun. I watch a lot of those. But for me, it's a lot more about this and that, because, there's a certain sound that one instrument's going to get that you're not going to get from the other ones. And I'm a strong believer in that. It's like when I play saxophone all the time, I would say each mouthpiece kind of had its own sound, right? And you want to try to just work with what it gives you rather than trying to force your tone on it. You're going to sound like yourself anyway. And that's how I think, to me, synthesizers work. Like each instrument has its own qualities, and you're best working with what it gives you rather than trying to go, oh, I hear the sound in my head, I want it to be exactly whatever, and then, try to will it to happen. I mean, some people can do that, but I think a more practical approach for a lot of us is to work with the sound that it gives you and just find a musical way to use that. And so I would be more likely to just jump to a different instrument if I wasn't happy with the sound rather than spending like 30 or 40 minutes trying to tweak one sound to get it exactly the way I want. It's easier to just change instruments. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, and everybody have a great day, whatever you're doing.